Good morning, y'all, y buenos dias. So this video is almost 2 years late and I apologize for that. But almost every time I tried to sit down and make it, I would find some excuse or another to not make it. But today I am sharing my natural, unmedicated birth story. So if you guys are interested in that, then keep on watching. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a background. This video might be a little bit long, so you might want to go get yourself a cafecito, maybe some snacks, some water. I'm just gonna try to go in depth and try to really explain exactly how each step was for me. So my pregnancy went awesome. I will link below the 3 videos that I made on my pregnancy, the first, second, and third trimester. I did get morning sickness in my first trimester and that was really tough, but once I got out of the first trimester, it was a breeze. Like, I didn't have any aches or pains, and I even went hiking in Costa Rica and I was like 8 months pregnant, which I don't really recommend because I thought I was gonna give birth in the jungle, but anyways, the pregnancy went really well. And it was November 11th and we had our friends over, Aaron, Kyle, and Lindsay, and we were kind of just all hanging out, roasting vegan marshmallows outside, when all of a sudden I started feeling cramps. And so I was like, okay, I need to go lay down because this is kind of getting a little uncomfortable. So I kind of just said goodbye to everybody, and Zach and them just all hung outside for a little while longer. And so Zach came to bed and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, just like cramping every now and then." And so I just went to sleep. And so at around midnight, they started getting more intense. And so I started getting like real deal contractions. And so it was fine. It wasn't too intense, but they were strong enough to where I knew that I was in labor. And so once the contractions really started going, Zach started timing them and they were like super far apart. So we weren't worried too much about that, but I was super collected and the waves just started coming in and I felt strong. I felt like, you know, I got this. And so as time progressed, my contractions started getting harder and more intense to where it was around 3 a.m. and I threw up because they were just so strong. And so I threw up and Zach kind of panicked and he was like, "Okay, we need to go to the birthing center." And so we headed over to the birthing center, and my midwife, I can't even begin to express just how amazing my midwife was. I think my entire experience would have been completely different had it been in another setting, and that's something that I want to address too. Like, every birth story is completely different, and just because I'm telling you mine doesn't mean that this is the perfect way or the way to do it. If you are more comfortable in a hospital, then so be it. If you are more comfortable at home, then so be it. And I just found the birthing center to be my middle ground, that I didn't want a hospital setting, but I wasn't comfortable enough to have a home birth. And so that's why we chose our birthing center. And so we got to the birthing center, and it's very homey. Like, it's kind of like going into someone's house. And so when I got there, my midwife, you know, just checked me out. She was like, "You're fine, you're doing great. I need you to do laps." I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like, I just wanted to snap on her. And so, hold on just a second. I think Luna's up. And Zach was able to get to her. But anyways, so she made me do laps around inside the building. And like I said, it's very homey. So there's like a couch and like pictures on the wall. So it didn't feel like a hospital setting in any way. And so I'm just walking with Zach around and around, and like the contractions just stopped me in my tracks. They just like I just stop and just breathe it out. And then I keep walking and walking and walking. So then we finally go into my room, and I say my room because it was like a room, like it had a bed and a bathroom, like it was like a room. And so I'm still working through my contractions, and I just remember this so vividly. So the way that I wanted to labor at that point was Zach held his arms out like this, and I just put my arms like this and press down on his body with all of my might, like just with every thing that I had in me, and I would just push down and push down, and that's what I wanted. And at one point Zach was like, you don't want to like hold on to the tub, because his arms were so tired from me just pushing down. And I remember he was wearing a gray hoodie and it was just soaked because of how much he was sweating from me pushing on him. And so we worked through that for a long time. And then my midwife asked if I wanted to shower, and I was like, I guess, I mean, whatever, I guess. And so she brought a birthing ball, which is essentially just like a really big exercise ball, into the shower, and I just sat on the ball. It's funny because I'm actually sitting on a yoga ball right now, but like I just sat on the ball with the water hitting my back, and I just like held the wall like this. And I was really fortunate I didn't have any back contractions or anything like that, but it was the greatest shower of my entire life. I could just have been there for forever. I just felt so calm and so just ready to roll. And so I was there for like a really long time, or at least it felt like a really long time. And then my midwife came in and checked, and she was like, okay, you're getting there as far as dilation goes. Do you want to get in the tub? And so the tub is ready, it's filling up, and I get in and I'm just like, like, I am so ready. Like my mindset is just set. I'm ready to go. And she checks me and I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready. Like, I think I'm ready to push. And she turns and she's like, your labor is slowing. And I was like, are you kidding? And she was like, yeah, you're too relaxed. I was so upset. I got too caught up to where somehow I slowed down my labor. I was too chill. And so I slowed down my labor, and my contractions were getting further and further apart, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? I just did what I thought I was supposed to do, zoned in, ready to roll, getting the baby out. And no, like I slowed it down. The process slowed down to the point where I had to get out of the water in order for the contractions to start coming back up again. I was like, okay, let's do this over again. And so I walked around it for a bit, and I held on to Zach some more, to the point where I was like getting ready again. And which is kind of ironic, but I wanted to go onto the bed, which is really funny because that was one of the main reasons to go into a birthing center, was because typically in hospital settings, women are coerced into laying on their back to deliver, which is a very unnatural way to deliver. You know, thousands of women have given birth, millions of women have given birth naturally with the help of gravity. And so for some reason I was like, I want to go on the bed. And so I was laboring in bed for a long time, and I got tired. I got so tired, and I just didn't know what to do anymore. I was exhausted. By this point, it was around 8:30 in the morning of the next day, and I was just tired and exhausted, and I was just laying in the bed, and I was in so much pain. And I just remember looking up at Zach and saying, like, just kill me. I can't do this anymore. There's no way I can push this baby out. And Zach just held my face. He was like, you got this. Like, you come from a line of women who have got this, you know, and you're gonna do this, and you are powerful and you are strong. And then I passed out. I passed out for like 30 seconds, and I came back and I was like, now I'm ready to go. And so then I started pushing, and y'all, the labor was the rest of the contractions and the rest of the labor was a breeze compared to the pushing. And it wasn't necessarily the pushing or the force or the weight, it was the burning. The ring of fire was real. It was a ring of fire. And so as the child is coming out, they are opening, and it just was burning so intensely. I was like, this can't be normal. This can't be real. Like, there's no way that this is what's really going on. And my midwife was like, you got this. you know, I can see the baby. Zach could see the baby's head. I could feel the baby's head. And I was like, okay, it's gonna happen. And I just went the most extreme bear, lion, whatever kind of intense animal you can think of. I got to that level, and I was just yelling and screaming and just trying to focus all of my energy. Mind you, Zach is there, my mom is there, my best friend Lindsay's there with her daughter Rala, and my brother and my sister are there. So I have a team in there, and my mom is just, I can see her like kind of crying because, you know, her daughter is in pain. Zach is on the side of me. He's like, you got this, you know, like trying to encourage me. And Lindsay's in the room just kind of like, oh my God, I feel you. I had a baby. And my brother is just there like, why am I here? I don't understand why I'm put in this situation. And so when push comes to shove, literally, Zach is on one side, my mom is on another side, my brother has one of my legs, and I'm pretty sure Lindsay had my other leg. And I just start pushing, and it felt, I'm not even joking, it felt like I was pushing for like 3 hours. And I just didn't know what to do. And I was like, I'm pushing with all of my strength. Like I can't build any more strength than what I already have. And I push and I push and I push. And she's out. And she's there. And I just get the most biggest wave of relief that I've ever felt in my entire life. It was like, I can't even explain. There's no words for me to be able to explain how I felt as soon as she was born. And they put her directly on my chest. And every ounce of pain that I was in was just gone. Literally in that second, gone. I had no memory of what that pain was as soon as she hit my chest. And I'm just shaking just like even talking about it, because the way that I felt was literally like God, like I was God. I just brought to life this being that I had homed inside of me, and now she's in my arms. And I just held her and just closed my eyes, and I just said, you know, like, I love you, and I'm going to do everything in my power to love you unconditionally. And I just held her and felt the biggest wave of relief that I've ever felt, ever. And it turns out that I had only pushed for like 10 minutes, not 3 hours, but it felt like 3 hours. And also Luna was born with her hand on her head. And so I did tear a little bit, and so I needed, I think it was like 3 or 4 stitches. And so immediately after she was born, she was just put on my chest, and we just stayed there in that moment for a long time. And then she started reaching and wiggling, and so she just latched on and started nursing. And it's kind of funny to think about it now that she's almost 2 and is still super milk hungry all the time. It's so fitting that she started nursing right away. And so I nursed her and she fell asleep, and then I delivered the placenta, which was a whole nother like situation. It's so funny. After reading so many books and so many videos and, you know, all of these things to prepare for pregnancy, I had almost completely forgot about the placenta. And so whenever the placenta came out and we were looking at it and touching it, it was just so amazing that the woman body will create an organ and just spew it out afterwards. Like, it's incredible. And then can create more in the future. Like, it's just unreal. And so I delivered the placenta, and then we cut the cord after a very long time. We wanted to delay cord cutting so that she got all of that extra boost from it. And so they cut the cord, well, Zach cut the cord, and then they were able to weigh her. And when they were weighing her and all that, I was able to go and just stand in the shower and get all of like the extra gunk that was on me. And Luna had even pooed on me like right after she was born. So I cleaned all of that stuff off, and then went and laid back in bed, and Luna just sat on my chest, and she nursed some more and she fell asleep. And so that was the time that the midwife was like, you know, you should really try to rest You've been up for a long time. This is a lot of energy that you exerted. You should try to rest and sleep because you'll never sleep the same again. And so at that point I was just hungry. I was like, nah, I need to eat. And so Lindsay went over like next door, and it was like one of our favorite sushi places. And so she got tons of veggie sushi and some vegan fried rice, and we just ate until I couldn't eat anymore. And she had made me like a huge green smoothie, and I drank that, and I was like, yeah, now I'm ready. And so I was like, okay, now I'm gonna go to sleep. And I just couldn't sleep. I was just holding her and loving on her and just in this moment of pure bliss with my baby. And it's so funny. This is probably like the funniest part of my whole birth story. Zach was on the side of me and he's just knocked out. He had been up with me the whole time, and I had used him as like a stand to be able to go through all my contractions. That immediately after I had Luna, he just fell asleep, and he slept for 6 hours straight. Like my mom and I were just talking, and Lindsay, and we were just all hanging out, and there's Zach just knocked out on the side of me. And then I look on the other side, and there's like a bench. It's like, it almost looked like a shoe bench, like to stack your shoes. And my brother, who's like 6 feet tall, is like curled onto this bench taking a nap, and they're just like knocked out. And so after 6 hours, we were able to go home, which we were really lucky to be able to do that. And the birthing center was only 5 minutes away from the house, which was really awesome. And so once we get home, my cousins Marjorie and Kiara are there, ecstatic and just ready to see Luna. And the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks really were just heaven. I mean, it was amazing. And I think that this is another topic that we need to make a whole nother video about. But having community and having postnatal care as a woman is just so necessary. Like, my experience with Luna for the weeks after I had her were amazing. And that's because I have a super close-knit community that was just on my side. So Zach was able to get, I think it was 2 weeks off work because our work was really awesome. We were super privileged to be able to even get that. And then my mom stayed at our house for 40 days. So traditionally for us, los 40 días after you have a baby are like super critical, and you need a lot of help because of all the energy that you exerted and that your body is typically super weak after. And so it was my mom, Zach, and my little sister, and they stayed there for almost the entire 40 days with me. And not only did Zach clean the house every day, my mom made all my meals and brought them to me, and Jesse like helped me up to go to the bathroom. I mean, everything, every little thing. I had such amazing and positive assistance the entire way. And so that helped me tremendously in more ways than just the physical, like I need food, I need this to be clean, but emotionally to be able to have that community that helped me out with my baby, because you feel super isolated after you have a baby. And I can only imagine how difficult it is when you're actually alone with this baby, because having a newborn is not easy. And especially for new moms who don't know what to expect, it can be even more isolating. And so I have infinite amounts of gratitude to especially my mom and Zach for how much work they did as soon as Luna was born. And so that's my story. I apologize greatly for taking so long to express this story and to be able to really tell you guys all the details of it. But I'm so glad that I'm able to share my story with y'all. It was not at all what I expected, and not how I imagined it in my head. You know, like I thought that I would be in the water and like Luna would just come out and like she would do, and like it didn't happen. And that's okay. That's okay that your birth plan doesn't go how you think it's gonna go. At the end of the day, you have a beautiful, healthy baby, and that's what is most important. I think that we beat ourselves up a lot in life when things don't go our way, but we really just need to learn how to roll with the punches and figure out how to make the best of whatever our situation is. And so yeah, that is my birth story with Luna. And like I said, she's almost 2 now, so this video is a little bit late, but I'm glad that I finally sat down and told my story with y'all. As always, if you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Tlazocamahti for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.